We're going live. We're going live. Pop in, say hi. If you've never been into one of my lives before, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And I have been at it today. May 1st, you guys, and I am rocking this month to start. Maybe not rocking myself, but I am rocking those small goals that for some people might seem small goals, but have been driving me crazy because I've been wanting to switch my spring closet over, pack up all my winter stuff, put it away till fall. And yeah, I completed that task. It took me all day, 4 loads of laundry, 3 donation bags, and a lot of sweeping and dusting up cat hair. Lots of cat hair. Get behind nooks and crannies, and these are bins that I put my seasons in, and I only get behind there right at the end of the season. It was a chore, but I feel so good that it's done because it has been on my list for a few weeks now, not long. So I guess that I am on top of it, right? And sometimes it's the way we beat ourselves up that we have these ideas and we want them completed in this moment or in the next moment. But I would say three weeks from the point that I says, "Oh, I've got to get my spring clothes switched over, get my closet switched over," to it being done. And it's still pretty cold out there. I saved a few of the hoodies, and everything is packed away. I am now sitting permanently in the chair until it's time for me to go to bed. Let me have a sip of my fresh cup of coffee. We're using my Be Kind cup. I had over 70 coffee mugs, inspirational mugs, that when I used to do my live show on Instagram, I would come in and I would have a different mug for whatever topic I was talking about, right? There would always be something inspirational or motivational on my coffee mug. But what's the need for that? These are just gimmicks, right? These are just kind of like trademarks, these things that we recognize about the person who is trying to make an impression on us or try to influence us in some way, so it catches your eye. And especially, if you do like the content, right? I'd like it to come across your path. It's why in the thumbnails I'm pretty consistent in the colors that I use and the graphics and the fonts that I use in my thumbnails. So right when that smiling face comes across your feed, oh, Cindy's on. And right, if I'm lucky enough, right, that it came across your path and you popped in, I'd be very grateful for that. Okay, you guys, we're going right back into this topic of patience, the last day off that I have this week. Right back at it tomorrow, right? 4 days on, 3 days off. This is how I create my life, right? If I if I if they could, I would be working 5 days a week. I am sure. But I have a life outside of that job that puts the roof over my head. And as much as I'm grateful for that job, right? I'm always, right? Maybe it's that little bit of nomad that my father instilled in me. My father was a bit of a nomad, right? And in turn he took his family along for that ride. 11 elementary schools. I haven't gone back and counted them exactly. So as we move forward, I want to make sure that number is specific. So one day I'm going to sit down and write them down. I know a couple of those schools I did a couple of times, right? But yeah, it has been a very dynamic kind of adventure that I have been on. Each one of us has our own adventures, right? And it's not to say that it's any less exciting because, right, we get used to quite often in our upbringing, in that patterning, in those things that we do all the time, right? That it becomes natural for us. And especially if we're picking these things up from people who are around us. I spend quite a bit of time sorting things out before I jump into relationships. I am very, very impulsive, and I know in those impulsive moments when I am compelled to get close to somebody, I do, right? But if I don't have that being compelled kind of feeling, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to be very hyper vigilant in that. I'm going to feel it out and not feel it out to say, oh, is this a good person? Is this a bad person? Is this going to be a good influence? This person got or good habits or bad habits. I feel out the heart, right? And I feel out those values that I have that are very, very important to me, right? You know, it's very important to have kindness and to have, you know, and some of us aren't kind of trailing a little bit off on each one of these subjects, and I'm going to lose myself on the main topic. But if I'm feeling, right, again in this moment, compelled, right? And I've lost that train of thought, so they're saying, pull it back to the main branch, Cindy. If you hang out with me, I do this quite often. It is in that, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit of ADHD that sometimes in that triggering, right? Because we are triggering ourselves. We're going back in memories and in talking about all those different schools that I went to, right? Right away, it makes me want to go into my head and start counting those schools. And also, I'm in those schools in my mind, so I'm looking at some of those experiences, seeing them in there anyway, right? Counting them, just picking up little triggers along the way. And so it's in my mind, and when I'm trying to, right, come in and have a conversation, I just triggered myself. And when I trigger myself that way, right, the little ADHD picks up, right, and takes me away. Where it takes me, I have no idea. But that's when you hear me say, okay, Cindy, let's pull it back. We got this word patience this week, and maybe that's a good signal in what's just happened with me, because we talked a little bit. We talked quite a bit the past couple of days when it was that patience when it came towards my brand, and that patience when I thought that I was so ready, right, for the limelight and for the for the crowd, for the viral, when in all reality, that practicing and in that understanding of what I'm doing here, and in that understanding that, in being here, I have that opportunity to impact. And that's scary because in that impact, when I lose myself in those thoughts, right? When that AD picks up, I understand that it's recognizable, right? Because if you're hanging out with me, you're kind of like me and you're hyper vigilant. And because I want you to feel me out, right? I want you to feel where I'm at and where I'm coming from and where I'm going to. That's part of the genuineness, but it still doesn't take away, right? That that it's visible, that I still do get triggered and I do get swayed away from topic, quite often in these lives, quite often. And in saying that, right, those are the lessons that I'm supposed to be working on, right, as I'm practicing my craft. We are never there. In this lifetime, I can go on and on and on with every second lesson that comes across my path and still not reach where I was, right? Possibly meant to be, but at the very least wanted to be. But no matter what, I am grateful that I am where I am in this moment because I think I learned a little bit about this word patience, patience with myself, right? I think it's a big reason why I'm still sitting here. And there's lots of reason as to why I'm sitting here. It is a recipe. It's like baking a cake, right? But also at that same time when you have all those recipes and and you're trying to make that blue ribbon cake and you got it in the oven and you got the oven light on and you're just watching it and watching it and watching it and you're just waiting for it to be ready. And you know what happens when you open up that oven door too soon, right? That beautiful blue ribbon cake that you spent so much time finding the recipe. You spent so much time, right? Saving up the money because it's only the best ingredients if it's going to be a blue ribbon recipe. And all that time that you put into it, right? And because you opened up the door too soon, because you weren't patient enough for that prize, for that reward, right? Because possibly you didn't put all the proper ingredients in it. Maybe you didn't time it properly, right? These failures are allowed, right? But you have to recognize where the failures came from, right? And if that failure was from impatience, then maybe, right? Maybe it's time to do a little bit of Googling, right? On patience. I usually what I'll do is I'll pull up the word patience and I'll get a Wikipedia kind of definition on it, even if I know what that right patience. Like we all have a definition, but that Wikipedia, right? That exact definition of and I just forgot the word. It just kind of slipped my mind there. Patience. It's doing it to me again. There's a lesson in there for me, right? That I wanted this yesterday. Right? But what? What did I want yesterday? I have those dreams. I have those goals. I work towards them, you guys. I put my vacation request in, right? I got the second half of September off. It's going to be amazing. And I've even decided it could change again. It could change. It really possibly could change again because it's changed a couple of times already. But I do believe I am going to go to Bancroft, Ontario. It's about 3 hours out of Toronto. Um, right? We are famous for amethyst here in Ontario, but there's a certain area of that province that has amazing crystals, right? Of all varying types, and I would love to go digging for something new. I'm still going to go big digging and Thunder Bay for my amethyst, right? But I'm going to extend that trip a little bit because I can. Because that money for the vacation is is reaching that point where there's going to be maybe possibly a little bit of overflow in that. I have been saving for that vacation in September. And it's that money has specifically been for the vacation, but that money, right, is still coming in, and we'll see how grand a vacation I can create for myself. But things are moving along. I have my goal list. I'm working on it constantly, right? Patience. I don't know what I'm supposed to be impatient about, in all truth. I don't know what I'm supposed to be impatient about. When I look at what I'm doing, I have this little bit of an idea that, whatever I can make a movement in this life, that I might be able to carry it forward, you know, and be able to make some headway, not just for myself, but for my family, and then at the same time, possibly for others, because I am very, I don't know, I've been gifted of waking up to some of these ideas in an age that allows me to truly dabble in it, to truly make some headway, right? This digital age has given me choices, and to hold myself accountable if I want to be able to, I don't know, do a little bit of good for myself, a little bit of good for my family's movement, right? Maybe, I don't know, epigenetically, right? Not have to have some of these experiences that possibly that my family for maybe history, lifetimes, right, has struggled with. And we have struggled. I don't know all the stories, but I know a lot of the stories, and sometimes I use those stories, right, because it is my own experience and my family's experience that we get to really recognize the damage sometimes that we do to the people, right, that we love. I'd like to be optimistic that those that meant the most to me, that I meant the most to them also. But that's not always the case. And because I was patient in the lessons, because I was patient and not resentful and envious of those who made it before me, right? Or or where I haven't gotten to in this moment, in a perspective that I didn't have, because I thought I was somewhere else. I thought I was ready for something else, and I wasn't even close. And I'm so grateful that something or someone knew that and gave me some space, some time, right? A roof over my head in a safe and comfortable place where I can sit here and take the lessons in, that I can come in fresh every day, right? And share what I've learned, or share what I've experienced, or a conversation that I had, or someone I met, right? But because, right, that what I wanted most, right, that it didn't happen immediately, that I got to learn patience, right? Now it's not as frenzied, right? It's not as frustrating that, right? Maybe, like I said, this is it. But I do know I've made friends on these platforms, that I do have people who appreciate me and appreciate the space that I bring to this platform of mine. And, I hope And I expect that I am making an impression on at least one person. And wow, that's absolutely, absolutely amazing, because maybe that one person has that impact. Maybe that one person has hundreds of thousands or millions, or just that one person who needed that little bit of insight that might have come through a conversation that we had here. It's happened for me. It's happened for me. And then again, those expectations of you get what you give, I suspect that, right? Those gifts that have been passed along to me, even though these people have no idea their impact on my movement, that it will be returned to them, right? In so many amazing, wonderful ways, right? Because they did that for me. They did that for me. And they might not ever know. And I think for most part, right? They don't. But I think some do. And that's the thing. You only need that one person. And maybe that one person has got a gazillion followers. And they say, oh my goodness, should have seen Cindy last night. She was stumbling all over herself and she smiled right through it, right? She had patience with herself, right? She didn't call herself a dummy. She didn't criticize, right, herself. She showed up, right? And that it's funny that I'm saying that now, because I don't know, somebody said something that impacted me a couple of days ago in the comments, and about um I had a boss like this recently. I just absolutely adored her. And she would never ask anybody to do anything that she wouldn't do herself. And this person who followed my content said something to that effect about me. But that's the thing. We have to be that evidence for others, right? How am I supposed to acquire that one person that is impacted, right? Genuinely and incredibly, right? That's my hopes. That's my that's my expectation in what I do, to make that impact. To make it so that, right, we're a little bit further ahead than we were, I don't know, last week, last year, 10 years ago, or in the past lifetime, right? And if we're a little bit better, right? If we made a little bit of movement, maybe we'll be able to come back, right? Cindy's not coming back, but I suspect there are parts of her that will be called upon, right? And in being called upon, might have made a little bit of movement just because they hung out with me. And that's my ego. And that's perfectly okay. That's okay, right? Because I'm taking in those lessons, right? I'm creating the best human being I possibly can. And I've got to find a way to get to the head of the class, right? Right? And this is what I do, because I think that I'm very at the end of the class, right? Because we're feeling our way around. None of us know how far ahead of the game we actually are, right? But you can look around and you can see where people aren't, right? And that's just missing that spot. That doesn't mean they're not rocking it in another aspect, right? And lots of times we only look at the what's not going right? Just like when I came in here and started stumbling all over myself, right? That you pick up on that, right? And then you totally miss the message, right? Maybe you totally miss what I intended, right? Might not have come out absolutely perfect. Maybe it didn't come out at all, but you felt that intent, right? That I tried, and somehow right? Turned into a lesson anyway. Where I am right now, and this isn't my lesson, this is somebody else's, but I'm going to use it. Where I am right now, right, is not where I'm going to be 10 years from now or the next lifetime from now. It certainly isn't. Not if I have something to say about it. And that's where that little bit of urgency sits because I don't know how far behind I am in the game, and I don't know how far ahead of the game I am, right? I know at least that I'm somewheres in the middle. That much I know. Okay, you guys, that's my good cheer. It has been a good day for getting ahead, right? I've been in contemplation. I've been getting little things done around the house. I've been really enjoying my last day off before I, right, get back to work. Happy to have the job that I have to ground in that allows me to have all these amazing, amazing things. I brought out my summer clothes, and oh boy, do I have some cute outfits. I certainly do. Okay, you guys, that's my good cheer. I'm getting into my pajamas and I'm calling it a night. Wow. Calling it a night from doing anything except enjoying the next couple hours sitting in the lessons. You guys, see you tomorrow.